Lotus Corp radio station. Listen online at KFMA.com. You want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yo, welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live from Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide at KFMA.com on this beautiful Thursday, June 20th. Good morning, Rico.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tucson. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. We're going to have a good one. It's going to be our last show of the week as I am heading to Rocky Point for the weekend with my daughter, and I'll meet up with some friends, a little graduation celebration. I look forward to it. Haven't been to Rocky Point since last year. I think it's been over a calendar year, which is a travesty of sorts.
Long overdue.
Yeah. Of course, you know, it's not without controversy. The resort that I was originally going to stay at just 2 weeks ago, I made national news or international news when a tragic accident happened with a man and his wife getting electrocuted in the jacuzzi. Same exact resort that I was going to. Now, luckily, they were able to transfer, but as I was explaining to my engineer here at the station yesterday, it's the same company that owns the resorts.
Oh, Jesus.
So I went from the Sonoran Sea to the Sonoran Sun, and I said, just like an engineer is an engineer for all the radio stations in the building, I'm pretty sure the maintenance guy is the same guy for all the properties owned.
Oh, no.
Now, of course, I was as I was discussing this yesterday, I was talking about like, hey, man, like this resort, this could be the end of this resort. You know, it's Rocky Point. It's not like it's $1 billion resort. Yeah, I'm sure it could be, you know, owned by some secret investors, but the liability lawsuit that's coming that way is unavoidable. It's inevitable, and it's already
filed, right?
Huh?
The wife already filed?
Well, let me get to that. That's what I'm getting to.
Hey.
Well, you know, Mister, I'm on top of the news. The wife did actually already file, and it does seem a little bit low. She's 35 years old. She's still seriously injured, and I think recovering now back home in El Paso, Texas, which is the good news. And she filed a lawsuit seeking $1 million in damages from the U.S. resort operations. But like this killed her 43-year-old husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem low to you? Just $1 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in peso, I don't know.
No, in peso. Yeah, dude. Well, I know she's a dual citizen, but yeah, $1 million cash dollars is just like, yeah, I want 10 million pesos.
Right.
That's a good. Oh, it's only 1 million. All right,
Dang,
I want
you got
100
me.
million pesos.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I appreciate these resorts down here in Rocky Point because I understand the entire community of that town is a tourism-based economy. So I don't want people to lose their livelihoods over this by any means. But, you know, this, of course, is one of those situations where it's so tragic. This, this woman had, her whole life ahead of her with her husband. They were super happy. And for something like this to happen, usually you see lawsuits where they're like, well, what would have been the value of this person's life for the rest of your life? Mm-hmm. She's only 35 years old. That's another at least 30 years, you would think, of like marital bliss. That should be worth more than $1 million. I'm no attorney, but they definitely don't have Raffi representing them.
For real.
Now, Sonoran Sea Resort did release a statement following everything. And here's what the statement read. And I feel like it's a little sketch, too, because they kind of point the blame elsewhere, right? They said, first off, we are devastated by what has occurred, and our hearts are with the family and the victims of this terrible incident. The Sonoran Sea is a condo resort, and the Homeowners Association is responsible for all common areas. So this is like, he's
trying
like,
to pass the buck along.
Yeah, dude, it's like we're
not
a
really our
resort.
thing.
Yeah, so here's what this is the business model of these resorts in Mexico, right? When you rent a room, it's actually somebody's condo that they bought and they rent it out like Airbnb style.
Whoa.
Yeah. So essentially, they're
Really?
like, yeah, it's like, hey, we're the building, but every single one of these rooms is owned by one of you Americans, and all you Americans are supposed to be in charge of, I don't know, all the maintenance on the grounds for the pools.
What?
Yeah. So
The only liability we have is a snack machine.
right, dude.
That's it.
So the Sonoran Sea is a condo resort, and the Homeowners Association is responsible for all common areas, including the maintenance of the swimming pool, hot tubs, and grounds. Kazago, a vacation rental company, is not involved in any management or maintenance of the resort. Regarding this incident, our involvement ends at the individual condo reservation. We need to refer you to the Sonoran Sea HOA for further comment. And again, this is a release, and not from the booking agency, or it's a book, but it's a Sonoran Sea resort release as well. Statement. So we need to refer you to the Sonoran Sea HOA for further comment, as they are solely responsible for the resort and its maintenance. Our understanding is that a formal investigation of the incident is already underway. While we have no involvement in the maintenance or repair of common areas at the resort, we'll continue to cooperate fully. So it's a weird thing. So they're like, don't come at us. Blame the HOA. And it's
I feel like this trip's going to be half vacation, half you going under like a undercover journalist.
Honestly, once I get a couple shots of tequila in me, I start investigating.
Yep.
You know,
questions.
And as dumb as that statement may sound, you hear me on the radio all the time. I'm stone cold sober. You think I'm under the influence, but my brain, it works in a weird way. It's kind of like ADD, like uppers bring me down, downers bring me up. So, when I'm drinking, I swear to you, you have to see it to believe it. I become a more intelligent person and more inquisitive. And I'm there. I'm on point. So, I'll be there at the bar and I'll, drink a cocktail and a shot. And then I'll look around and I'll be like, I wonder if there was any faulty wiring in this property. If there was any motives.
You're going to be like approaching that jacuzzi like, sir, you can't go. Like, excuse me. I thought you didn't own this.
Well,
this was public.
I mean, honestly, like
investigating. I
think, I'm going to encourage my daughter not to go to the jacuzzi. I'm not necessarily a jacuzzi person, so I'm good. My last relationship, my girlfriend loved the jacuzzi, which was kind of like, it was torture in a way, because you sit in there too long. You're like bacon. I don't like being that hot. Yeah. So I'd rather be in a nice cool pool, swim up bar, and just belly up to the bar, drink for a couple hours in the bar, never even leave the pool area, and somehow not urinate for 3 hours. Wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? So
it's magic.
Yeah, I look forward to it. But that's my traveling, which is nothing compared to some of our friends. Chef Travis Peters is making his way to China right now. This is huge local news, because Chef Travis is a good friend of the show. As you know, we are City of Gastronomy. Which is a great honor here, because there's only one other U.S. city that's City of Gastronomy in the United States. Tucson being one of them, because we have all this great culinary food. Now, Chef Travis Peters, owner of the parish, he is at the forefront of this, one of the best of the best. And with this, he is a representative of Tucson in China for what's the name of this? I saw this on Tucson Foodie, some international gastronomy conference, right? So they're basically going to be taking the flavors of the Sonoran Desert to China and showcase it to other chefs around the world. Here's Chef Travis Peters just talking about his upcoming adventure on his Facebook page. Listen to this. Oh, it should play. What happened? Okay, well,
then China's blocking us.
Damn it.
Oh, man.
Again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he said some cool stuff.
No.
There we go.
Well, Tucson, looks like your boy's going to China, Macau, China. We're going to go represent Tucson and do some demonstrations and learn about their culture and cuisine, and bring some of ours out there. So
just listen to Chef Travis give his farewell salute on media, because in the international news, China, when a tragic accident happened to represent with a man and his wife getting electrocuted that we are jacuzzi. Same exact resort that I was going to. Now, luckily, they were able to transfer, but as I was explaining to my engineer, Hey, China, station yesterday. Your food. You got food. It's the same company that owns the resorts. So I went from the Sonoran Sea to the Sonoran Sun, and I said, just like an engineer is an engineer for all the radio stations in the building, I'm pretty sure the maintenance guy is the same guy for all the properties owned. Now, of course, I was as I was discussing this yesterday, I was talking about like, hey man, this town is a foodie town. Like this resort, this could be the end of this resort. It's Rocky Point. It's not like it's $1 billion resort. I'm sure it could be owned by secret investors, but we are live on the liability lawsuit that's coming that way for whatever reason is unavoidable. Todd's telling me to stop, or telling you, I'm getting yelled at in the comments here.
When it goes all caps, you're like, oh, fine, I'll pay attention.
Dude. Okay. Well, now that I fixed that, Todd, I will have you on the podcast broadcast here in a little bit. And coming up on the stream, I want to share with you last night's big concert, Ken and Friends. Now, I know we're a rock station, right? But what moved the needle last night, was trending all last night, was the pop-up concert by Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So just an LA-based concert with LA rappers, and, nothing to see here until you realize he is in this, embedded in this beef with Drake. And he decided to open and close his show with the 2 diss tracks that he had going up against Drake. But how he closed the show was such a kind of monumental FU to Drake, and also a victory lap that you've never seen before. I have clips of this to share with you on the podcast broadcast, and we have a lot to get to, including film critic Herb Stratford on the FM side. So keep listening on Rock 102.1 or join us on youtube.com/beefvegan. For those of you on the FM side, here's new music from Ashes to New. This song's called Barely Breathing on Rock 102.1.
See, in my head, it's a giant statue of Drake from Degrassi.
Yeah.
Like just unveiling that with a wheelchair.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Damn.
So what happened, though, is, again, he opened up with the Euphoria, which was crazy, and people are freaking out and they're singing along. And then he went into Not Like Us at the end after he did about 15 songs. He did Not Like Us 5 times in a row as an encore. He did it at first, introduced by Dr. Dre, and he performed the song. And then he started doing it and just let the entire crowd sing it, and all the important digs. And then he ended up having 100 people join him on stage, including NBA players, just shitting all over Drake. So he's
got a anti-Drake army.
Yeah, here's the intro.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna just need a moment of silence for this.
Mm-hmm.
I see dead people.
All right, so that's the intro. And then let me scrub ahead here for the sake of time.
Mustard on a beat, how deep, bro. Any rap nigga, he a freak, though. Man down, call an ambulance. Tell him free, bro. Tell a nigga to the cross. He walk around.
All right.
I'ma do my stuff. Why you pulling like a bitch, ain't you? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably.
You hear that?
A minor. Yikes.
Yes. So he had the entire crowd inside the Kia Forum, including LeBron James and everyone who's supposedly friends with Drake, sing A minor. And then he literally danced on that, that beat. Where everything was dropped. He's just A minor, and I'm just dancing. I'm dancing on your grave. Now, keep in mind, this is a song that's calling Drake a pedophile. Yeah. But it didn't stop there. He's like, you know what? That sounded good, LA. Let's do it again. But this time, you do it.
Certified boogeyman. Walk it down. Whole time I know he got some hold on him. Pull on him. Extra shit. Fully kept on him. Say Drake. Just make sure you have your little sister.
That's what it says. Kendrick ran Not Like Us back immediately and let the crowd sing the lyrics for him. And he barely rapped. And so this person who tweeted this, who goes by Big Boss on Twitter, said, this is the most insane victory lap I've ever seen in my fucking life. And he's not joking, dude. If you're talking, imagine, because we grew up with the Tupac Biggie beef era, right? So imagine Tupac does hit him up. Into a sold out crowd.
Without a month later, the entire crowd knows all the lyrics.
Yes,
already. You're
and then has that played back 5 times in a row, where the entire crowd sings it word for word, and you're watching. And in fact, actually, I'll play a clip here in a little bit from a Drake ally and Academics, who was live. He's a live streamer as well, and his reaction is hilarious.
I never heard a crowd go.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. An entire crowd going, I fucked your bitch.
Oh, wait. We're on. Yeah, sorry. We're back on the air. Rock 102.1 I know. Well, you saw me press a button.
I know.
I was hoping you were picking up what I put down, but I was hoping you'd say A minor.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Literally worse.
We're live at Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents.
So we don't talk about rap.
Have a job. Yeah, this is probably why. The only reason why we don't talk about rap. Mari's had a bunch of interesting questions for us today. Before we get into some of her questions, I know that you love Japan and Japanese culture.
I do.
But you also know that Japan's currently in a decline in marriages and birth rates, right?
Right.
So when you go there, even though you're with your husband, do they kind of like stare at you like you were sent from the heavens above?
No, but I did get a compliment once.
What was the compliment?
Very beautiful.
Oh, well, that's very PG. I thought it was, considering if it was like Japan on the subway, it'd be a little more kind of graphic.
No. They're very, very sweet,
Oh, that's
pleasant
good.
people.
Well, maybe that's why they're in decline of marriages and birth rates. You got to have a little edge to you. Well, a recent survey asked the citizens of Japan how they felt about a government-run dating app, right? So essentially, this is like arranged marriages, but from the government. And to help them combat this problem of their decline in marriages and birth rates. And surprisingly, 54% of people say they're in favor of this.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's all men, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Like, I think it's cool that you could like check out their job, if they want marriage or not. Like, those are some of the things, I guess, in this like app, right? Like the seriousness. Do they want kids? Like, there's all these like boxes that they check.
Right.
And if I knew that going in, it would like take away all like the obnoxious pre-dating parts, right?
But no, those are dating apps in general. They ask you all those questions. That's kind of like displayed on your bio.
And the ones in America, you at least get to see if they're 6'3" or something.
Right.
Over there, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why we're in a declining birth rate and marriages as well, because not everyone in America is over 6'3". And that's unfortunate. So guys under 6'3", are not able to procreate. Anyways, for the government in this survey, they asked for hookups. Well, like they're all for it. 54% said those responded is all about the government hookup, while 36% expressed opposition to the idea. 57%, however, expressed doubt in the app's ability to reverse the country's low birth rate problem. Right.
Which is crazy, though, because it's so fun out there for kids.
Yeah.
There's so much fun stuff for kids.
It's
I see a lot of babies.
They're like, hey, we're creating all these kid-friendly businesses. Why don't you guys start banging so we can get some customers here?
How about that?
We're running out of customers. You guys aren't banging. It is interesting, but it's a global problem. It's not just a Japanese problem. They have it here. In fact, actually, there was a different study that I came across. I found wildly interesting. The women who prefer men to be tall, they usually view themselves as being attractive, very attractive, right? Which is good for them. But, I feel like it's one of those things when you look in the mirror, you see yourself how you want to be seen. And then you look at pictures, that's how you see yourself, how other people see you, right? I think in this study of women who like tall men, maybe they're kind of over exaggerating their own attractiveness and they should kind of humble themselves and date a short king because not everyone could be that attractive, right?
Yeah.
Very valid point, Beef.
I'm trying. I'm like, what's the incel point of view? I'm trying to get. I don't know. I mean, I've been celebrating here for a while now.
Short guys are cool too.
Yeah, dude.
Come on.
What's considered short, though? I don't think 6 foot.
Anything under 6 foot.
Why? I do not agree with that.
No, good.
You're just
Thank
saying
you.
that.
You're one of the good ones, but you're already taken. So the reality is, if you ask any of the women out there, what do they consider short? It's anything under 6 foot.
Really?
Yeah,
You're
I know.
nothing. You're scum.
Yeah, seriously. While they're wearing like 8-inch heels, and this is a problem. Honestly, you gotta knock out those biases and just bang because we're all the same height laying down.
Oh, look at that.
I know. Yeah. All right. Well, let's continue this conversation on the broadcast, shall we? We got Would You Rathers and film reviews with Herb Stratford coming up next. Be Figure Presents, so don't go away. All right.
Wait, how tall are you?
Oh, 6'1".
6'1".
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we measured him last week.
Wait, are
On
you really
Tinder.
6'1"?
Yeah, he's 6'1".
Yeah. Thanks, bud. Yeah. I got those lifts in my shoe. Actually, I thought about getting those lifts.
So they have the ones now where it's like the heel input, where it's like a slant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You see them everywhere in my algorithm.
But I'm like, the logic with those, it's like so funny to me because it's like you're going to be lying about it. And then later on, if you actually get the accomplished goal of getting in the bedroom, you're going to have to get short. You're like, got you.
This is the way I look at it. I think it's fair play because, women's entire like beauty regimen is built on deception, right? With eyelashes and height and Spanx and so many different padded bras. There's so many different things that are catered to kind of exaggerate features that they may not have. And so if a guy puts a little like 1 inch or 2 inch lift in his shoe just to be a little taller standing next to you, I don't see the difference between that and high heels, right?
Yeah, it's
you
less of
make
an
a good
insult,
point.
less of a thing than having the sock in the crotch.
Yeah, it's less of a
That's-
thing than
yeah,
sock in
yeah.
the crotch. Yeah.
That's definitely deceiving.
Yeah, it is deceiving, but I'll tell you what. I mean, I've definitely been able to pick up women based off my bulge, but my bulge is all
Really?
potatoes. Yeah.
It's very
Just
David Bowie
straight-
labyrinth. I go out all the time wearing tights.
Yeah.
Just like labyrinth.
Yeah, get in here, Herb. Perfect timing.
Oh,
You're gonna
hello.
love these conversations.
Hello.
On your last
Welcome
appearance
to
on
the
the show
classiest
ever.
podcast on the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, but yeah. So no, I see it's fair, and you know why? The real reason why I would actually wear lifts in my shoes,
Mhm.
well, and I've decided this, is because of pro wrestling. because Kane's not really 7 feet tall, bro.
No?
They're like, no, Seth Rollins isn't as tall as he appears on TV. They got lifts in their wrestling boots to make them appear that way, and they're still pretty athletic.
Oh.
Yeah,
What about the Undertaker?
he's 6'10",
Oh,
but he's billed as 7 foot.
Oh.
Yeah. But Kane is supposed to be the same height, but never really was. He's always a couple inches
Wow.
shorter,
Interesting.
but he had lifts in his boots. And so I figured if pro wrestlers can do it, then dudes could do it in dating.
So you
Now-
wear wrestling boots while you're dating?
Yeah, so we're talking about tallness, and of course, our tallest friend Herb Stratford comes in there.
Hey,
He
tall
doesn't have
guy.
a problem. At what age did you get married?
Did I get married? I got married at 25.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's a dude who's 6'3", 6'4".
I was 6'5", but
Was
now
6'5".
I'm 6'4".
Yeah. We shrink as we get older, so
Yeah.
that's bad news for us because we're only going to get shorter.
gonna
This
be
guy's still
lollipop
going to be
guild.
considered tall when he's 80, which is like 2 years from now.
Ay, ay, ay.
My point is, him being 6'5", he immediately gets married and procreates. So like
Your nature's finest.
right, Rico and I are under 6 feet tall.
Right.
Never been married. I procreated once, and she was only 5 feet. So to her, I was a fucking giant. But I didn't procreate with someone who was 5'8". That's for
no,
sure.
but I will tell you what you're saying, and I came in late to this conversation. But my son, who's 27, we asked him at one point, we're like, dating websites or anything, and he's just like, no, because you guys screwed me because I'm not 6 feet, and every girl wants a 6 foot tall guy.
Whoa.
Your
See?
son's not 6 feet. How
No.
tall is he?
He's like 5'10" or something.
Which is
Still
I,
tall.
Why do you say that with such disdain?
I don't know.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, because he's a
Ew,
Nordic
6',
Viking.
5'10",
and they all
a failure.
for real.
But my wife is like 5'4", so you know what I mean. So they're like,
That's the balance. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he did get the short end of the stick with
Yeah.
the giant dad, because then if he brings a girl home to meet the parents, then immediately she's like, well, that sucks. Legitimately. So
just
I
won't
feel your
stand up.
son's pain. Now,
Yeah.
5'10", of course, is and the average height in America, 5'9", actually.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, the standard is, and it's pretty bad. And I don't know why the height thing. Maybe it's because they want to feel like protected, and it goes down
It's a primal
to,
thing.
yeah, primal needs, but also maybe it's penis related. But do you know that they are like starting to figure out these penis implants? And I actually came across a story that grabbed my attention immediately because I'm like,
Ooh.
let me pull this up here. This is the headline. Inside the Wild West of male genital enhancement, how average guys are paying $20,000 for off-label fillers, Botox shots, and shockwave therapy, despite terrifying risks. So,
Ooh.
yes, there's still a big risk, but there's a story of a guy named Kenny, who's a firefighter in Texas, who got filler injected into his penis 8 years ago, and his wife has no idea.
As if firefighter wasn't enough for him.
I know, right?
It's like, oh, it's not working. Time to go for the filler.
Wow. So I mean, and this piece is kind of like a little long-winded, and I was gonna get the bullet points on it to kind of be able to relay this. So I just wanted to share this. But there's these cosmetic like pop-up clinics that are starting to happen in Atlanta, Texas, and various areas that are starting to be able to give you like injection fillers to girth it up. It's they use hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic,
Yeah. Which is naturally occurring in the body. It's crazy that you guys know about it.
I work for a lady that does this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've gotten it in my lips before.
Yeah. Now we produce it in our body to naturally like lubricate and cushions our joints. But apparently you could also get that. It's most commonly used to plump up like cheeks and lips.
Yep.
So if girls can have fat lips,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this up to her.
You can have a fat hog.
There,
Right.
thank you for saying it.
Fat
Classiest
hog.
friend I have.
Yes.
I knew what you were thinking. I just wanted to help out.
I pointed, I double gunned, pointed down.
We're,
So
we're on the radio though too. Well, I guess we're not live.
we're not.
I made that mistake.
Yeah.
It's already a thing too with fillers. They dissolve after a certain amount of time. So it's like going to be a recurring. But if you lose as a man, you get bigger girth and you lose that, you're going to be like, I need it back. It's like recurring customers. Because girls get the fillers with the lips, the cheeks.
Yes.
It's going to be such a woof.
For real.
Ching.
Slippery
I know.
slope.
You want to start one here in
$3,000
Tucson?
every couple of years. How much? I mean, how long do you think it lasts?
It depends on what quality
Asking
and
for
how
it.
Like
much.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Only 6 months?
Yep.
Yeah.
$3,000 for 6 months?
Well,
Not worth it. It'll take me 6 months just to find
You
someone.
say that now.
Bang, really? So I say that now.
Like, damn, look at this girl.
I mean, in this piece, he's like the guy who was talking about how it worked for him. He's like, we're not even talking just a little bit. We're talking like 6.5 around.
whoa.
I'm like,
Talking tree trunk, baby.
yeah, oh shit, okay. So we're getting there. But scientists have been working on this for a long time.
Yeah, but there's a whole thing about the word you used, injection.
Yeah.
It's not like you're taking a pill. I mean,
No.
I'll
No.
change
It's a
the
little
word.
ting, ting,
yeah.
A
and
girth.
it doesn't feel good.
They're working on the pills too, but that doesn't necessarily work. There's side effects like turning into a zombie, growing horns, shit like that.
Worth it.
Yeah. All right. And then I'm just reading comments and I just see Bella say juicy and succulent, but I think she's talking about mangoes. Anyways,
Yeah.
did you watch House of Dragons? I know Rico's a big fan.
I didn't
So you
see it.
watched it. You're one of the millions of people who watched House of Dragons. According to this, HBO's House of Dragons, the viewership remains strong.
House of the Dragon, by
House
the way.
of the
Yeah,
Dragon.
make a lot of nerds mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the
Dragon.
season 2 premiere prequel series drew 7.8 million viewers on Sunday night. That's a lot, right?
But I think it's down slightly, to be honest with you, from last season. Of course, the first season of anything, a lot of build up for that. But I think it's slightly down, but it's still it's still a very big hit for them.
You're right. It's down from 10 million viewers.
Yeah.
Because that came out in 2022. Is part of it being down is because it's the second season or because it took so long between seasons?
I think that may be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any question they were going to do more seasons because it was, it's a cash cow. They're making 2 other spinoff series right now. So it's interesting, but it's also, it's a complicated thing. You're not just going out and shooting something. I mean, there's a really interesting series that you can get to on Max where it's a behind the scenes of each episode.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yes, is very nerdy, geeky, but I mean,
I love those.
for this show, I mean, in this first episode, because there's such incredible stuff in it, you see what they're doing, and they're like making a movie for each episode.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's like 4 units filming. They're building these elaborate, like the set they build for the sewer is like, it has running water. I mean, for a
That's
piece that's on
crazy.
like 10 minutes or something of the show.
A lot of it's on location, right?
A lot of it's in, they're all over. I mean, Game of Thrones, I think, was in either 4 or 5 countries simultaneously.
Wow.
So this is in, I think, mainly one place they were saying, but they built like a big part of the actual town of King's Landing. They keep building more of it. So they said they can go for like blocks without seeing anything. I mean, it's really
Wow.
amazing. And I mean, HBO is no dummy. I mean, they're making a lot of money on this stuff. And although my wife said to me last night, she said, how do they make money on this? Subscribers? I don't know. I don't know how
Merch.
they.
Well, they
Yeah,
are
merch.
subscribers are
True.
going to crack that down. Licensing for sure. But Warner Brothers in general has been very kind of like sketchy on how their business practices are because they've abruptly canceled projects they spend.
Oh yeah.
They paid money on, and then you look at something. Amazon Prime has done this as well, but of course, it's a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Same thing with Warner Brothers, I guess. It's a conglomerate. It's not just Max.
Yeah.
It's all this other stuff, but it's a big investment for people just watching free TV, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because even Max is cheaper than just the HBO subscription in itself. So they kind of lose money in that.
I still think
Yeah.
it's funny how you have the what is it? Warner Brothers has Harry Potter, right? Like how they have the Harry Potter land in Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Like if they try to cash cow out with like a theme park for Game of Thrones, it'd be like the most depressing theme park ever.
Oh, so sad.
That's just rent fair.
Like snow. It's just red bears, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is rent fair.
Just pea
Yeah,
smelling
but
and
also like
beheaded.
the Game of Thrones brand is sort of built on rape, and violence,
tyranny.
and now we have infanticide in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yes.
Spoiler alert.
come
Just
to the-
like Ren Fairs, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any baby murdering stations at the Ren Fair, but yeah, it's some dark stuff for sure, but very well done. And yeah, I mean, I think it's if it's your jam, I mean, there's always going to be haters, but I think it's
You
brilliant.
loved it.
I do, and I love Matt Smith. I think he's great.
And you
He's
watched
fantastic
Yeah.
in this show. I love Matt Smith.
Yeah, and so you love it too.
Oh
then.
yeah, because I think it still sticks to the George R. R. Martin's writings. That book was part of the other. It's like it was already written out. So it's
Okay.
not like them going off a cuff
Exactly.
and making their own thing. It's like literally good material to go from.
Good.
So
All right.
it's solid.
Well, good. We're speaking with Herb Stratford, of course, about to get on the air. We're going to talk about some movie reviews, what's coming to theaters. So we'll focus on theaters for this FM side because we got two movies. We got Thelma and the Bike Riders. So hopefully one of them are good. And what was
Tom Hardy.
Yeah. I watched I'm a Virgo.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you talked about. Fantastic series. Very weird. The sex scene that lasted like 20 minutes was funny. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beefeater Presents. Hanging out here with film critic Herb Stratford. Welcome back, Herb.
Hey.
And of course, Herb's always got his finger on the pulse on what is coming out to theaters and our streaming services. Let's focus on the theaters for this. There's two releases that are worth mentioning that are coming out to theaters this weekend. First one being Thelma. What's Thelma?
Thelma is just a delightful movie. This movie, so we actually had a chance to screen this early in Vero Beach at the film festival I programmed down there back in April. So I've had this for a long time. This is it's based on a true story of a 93-year-old woman played by an actual 93-year-old woman, June Squibb, who's a great actor. She was in Nebraska and some other movies over her career. But anyway, she plays a 93-year-old woman who gets taken by a phone scammer. And instead of just like letting it go, she decides to go after this guy, and she drags her grandson along with her, and the two of them are just the most funny, adorable. It's a great story, and the fact again that it's like based on something that actually happened. I love that they did this, and I love that people are like, no, I'm not gonna just be taken advantage of. I'm gonna go fix this. So it's a really fun, funny, great film, great cast. It's a delight. So definitely worth checking out if you want to go get out of the heat this weekend.
See, I love films like this that are kind of like brainchilds. This writer director put it together. It's a sleeper. It's an original concept. It's of course based off a true story. And it's something that's not a retread or formulaic. It's just. And then you put together a good cast and you tell a great story. So this is one of those, films that just tell a great story about something that actually happened. And it's somewhat inspiring.
Yeah. And it happens. Just a good reminder that, there are bad people out there and we don't have to just let them get away with it.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I know. We covered a lot of stuff. We always do when it comes to the scammers and telemarketers and everything else. So hell, even my own family gets duped. My mom got duped, by love scammer. So it happens a lot. All right. What is the other movie that we got coming out to theaters? It's called The Bike Riders. All right.
So this is, and a lot of people may not know this, but there was a really famous book, a photographic book in 1968 by a photographer named Danny Lyon called The Bike Riders. And this is the inspiration for this movie. This book was very, very shocking because in 1968, you have to remember, counterculture was, it was not sort of mainstream, right? So you've got this group of, the story of the book is Danny, as a photographer, he embedded himself in this biker gang. I think it was in Minneapolis, and they're dealing drugs and there's prostitution and all this stuff, which
old school biker stuff.
Very shocking, right? You know?
Yeah.
And Hollywood loves a good biker movie, right? You've got The Wild One with Brando, you've got Easy Rider, so there's a history there. I think the one complaint about this one is going to be, hey, we're just going to have Austin Powers sound like Elvis, but now he's a biker,
Right.
And so, but it's definitely like The Outsiders in terms of let's throw all these great Hollywood guys into a thing where they get to be tough guys, right? So
it kind of reminds me of The Outsiders in a weird way, dude.
Yeah.
The way that they're kind of dressed. And of course, that's a throwback movie when Herb was a young man. But
I want to know the stats on how many cigarettes were smoked on the set.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting because there's probably going to be a spike. This book has been out of print for a long time, and now they're re-releasing it. So I'm not sure why it was never sort of turned into a movie before now, but it's a good sort of counterculture film. Again, something else worth checking out.
looks cool. You accidentally said Austin Powers. You meant Austin Butler.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Totally different movie.
Yeah. Did he sound like Elvis in this movie?
A little bit. He always does.
Yeah.
He can't shake
He
it,
can't
dude.
shake
No,
it.
he can't.
That's crazy.
It's funny.
I mean, I think it's just who he is. It's why he was cast.
No,
As
no,
Elvis, right?
no. There's definitely footage of him because he's been an actor for a long time. He was a childhood actor. He didn't develop the Elvis isms until he became Elvis, and the film wasn't even that good to be Elvis for the rest of your life, dude. You
He
know,
sounded
what I
like
mean?
Elvis in Dune too.
He did.
Yeah, he can't shake it, man.
He
He
did.
can't shake, and he needs to go to
Uh-huh.
like speech therapy immediately and be like, dude, let it go.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, there's Elvis fans who've let it go by now.
That's a big sandworm you got there.
That's exactly how it was.
All right, well, those are two movies that are coming out to theaters. We got The Bike Riders, starring the Elvis and Thelma, a story about the 93-year-old who got scammed and sought some revenge. All right, we're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. There, we're going to have Mari's Too Hot for Radio Would You Rathers, and we're going to make Herb squirm. And we also are going to talk about this new documentary that's coming to Hulu with Herb right after this as well. So you can join us, youtube.com/beefvegan, or keep it right here on Rock 102.1. All right, now I do want to share this bit from earlier this morning while we get ready for Would You Rathers, and we have so much to get to, but we came across this, what was it, a Wallet Hub feature. It talked about these odd dishes, or which a region is known for each individual dish. It's a food, right?
Or each state's famous dish?
Every state's famous, weird, famous dish.
Yeah.
Now I'm reading through the list and I'm like, all these, and maybe it's me, and I'm perverted, but all these sound super dirty. And if you don't believe me, I gave you an example. I would just change a couple words around presenting these dishes and made them sound super dirty. It was almost too hot for radio, like just whatever Rico says on the radio. In case you missed it, one little something like this. Check it out. I've been accused of having a dirty mind a couple times, right? Yeah, I know. It's very odd. But look, I was reading this piece. I couldn't help myself. Mentalfloss.com has a rundown of iconic regional dishes from every state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just can't help but think that a lot of these dishes sound super dirty, right? Like here, it includes things like fried green tomatoes in Alabama, a shushu-rito, like a sushi burrito, right? In California, a sushi burrito. The ice cream potato in Idaho is a thing. Yeah, the hot brown in Kentucky. Have you ever had one of those?
Brown?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I'm missing out.
The comeback sauce in Mississippi and the garbage plate in upstate New York. Can you guess what iconic, like weird dish Arizona is known for? It's locally renowned, and it was, they say, originated here.
Okay, so it's like the chimichanga or Sonoran dog?
It's Sonoran hot dog. You know, the chimichanga should get the credit, but yeah, no, Sonoran hot dog was on there. But, you know, like I'm looking at all these like weird, delicious regional dishes, but I'm like, dude, yeah, all these plates sound dirty as hell. Like, I'll give you an example, just using context. Like, so what if I said, like, here's a towel, clean off that comeback sauce? That's going to sound dirty, right?
Yep.
And of course, comeback sauce is a big dish in Mississippi. Or she gave me a hot brown in Kentucky. Yeah, that sounds dirty, right? And I turned it into an ice cream potato.
Ugh.
Yeah, dude, these are all just dishes, but you just put a couple words in front of it, and now it sounds dirty.
I like how Arizona has the cleanest sounding one.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, not really.
No?
Well, first off, like I don't do online dating anymore because I'm tired of having a garbage plate of matches. And the Sonoran hot dog, let's be honest.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, dude. If I was like, yeah, you like that Sonoran hot dog? Ooh. He would definitely get up and leave the table.
Billboards. I want that guy to make
so there you go. That was the rundown of the dirty plates, and there was going to be more too, but that link had viruses all over it.
Was it bad for you too?
No, it wasn't bad for me. It was bad for I got a different
good for
setup.
you?
Yeah, it was great. All right, we are back here. It's time for Would You Rathers with Mari here. This will be a good time to kind of break it down before we get into the documentary that's on Hulu, which I assume you saw, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
So we can get into the meat and potatoes there. And then were you surprised by the winner of All Stars 4? And were you disappointed by the finale?
Here, I'll tell you two things.
Okay.
I was disappointed because I'm really not liking Laurel. She's just, I don't like her.
Yeah, she's
like,
an unlikable person.
Yeah, I used to think when she wasn't on, I was like, oh, I remember I liked her. No, I don't like her at all.
Yeah, she's terrible.
And I'm much more of a Cara Maria fan.
Right.
So I was disappointed by that. And also, I looked at my wife when we were watching the finale, and I'm like, this finale is weak.
Yeah.
it's just like it was like a regular challenge. It wasn't anything extreme like you're gonna die because you're climbing up a mountain. I mean, there was nothing extreme about it.
I know. It was like a Big Brother challenge finale.
Yeah.
It was super lame. It was set up for geriatrics. It was basically like, okay, even Veronica, who's like, almost 50 and kind of like middle, like frumpy body, I mean milk body, whatever. But she waddles. She can't run, right?
Yeah.
So like even she could win because these are literally like nursery games that we're playing here for $40 million.
I felt bad for Ace because I like Ace. I think he's a good guy. But yeah, I was disappointed.
All right,
Is there a noticeable like ebb and flow with like the money like coming into the show? You can notice how it drops off sometimes and it gets better.
Yeah, well, yeah,
challenges
you know
wise.
what? On the flagship, the MTV version, they still keep the cash prize high. But what I found out from kind of sleuthing behind the scenes of this reality show on MTV that's been around for now over 20 years, it's just a mainstay. They're just about to have their 40th season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be aired a little bit later on in the year. They already shot it. With that, they had big cash prize, but they brought back all these notable cast members over the past 25 years. But the thing is, since they are notable cast members, they get paid like actual actors and actors. So like, yeah, they're playing for extra money, but they have guarantees up front and they get paid per week. And, the longer they've been around, the more notable they are, the more expensive they are.
Yeah.
So to save up money for the big expense they were going to have in season 40, they did season 39, A Battle for a New Champion, which the other cast members called the coupon cast members, right? So all the kids who aren't worth shit that they got for like
spendable,
super bottom like barrel prices.
Yeah, it was like a cup of ramen and a 6-pack of ultra light,
which I thought, so finding out that is interesting. And the franchise continues on Paramount, and they have a bunch of different spinoffs and. It's interesting, but Herb and I, that's one of the weird things that we have in common is that we've grew up on this garbage television and massive fans of it. Fans of it.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. With that said, let's get into these impossible scenarios. You know the deal.
Yep.
You got to weigh in on one or the other and why. No skirting around it. So, Mari, what's your first would you rather?
All right. Imagine you're in a red convertible, right? Traveling down the highway, the breeze in your face. You're right behind these two trucks.
Look at you. It's like, nah.
Okay, right behind these two trucks. Would you rather try to survive a logger truck losing its logs or a cement mixer unintentionally unleashing cement?
Ooh.
Easily.
What easily?
Cement.
Okay, and why?
Because not only was that damn movie terrifying, that what is that? Final Destination 2. yeah, that terrified me. And then living in Louisiana, I'd actually have to drive by those logging trucks a lot with that memory still embedded. So I'd rather just deal with the cement, honestly.
All right, Herb, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm there too. I feel like you could survive cement, but the logs, there's just no survival.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm with you guys as well, that you would probably survive cement better than a log crushing you, but I look at wet cement like quicksand, and honestly, within the last week, I came across 2 separate stories of people dying in quicksand. So quicksand making a comeback.
Cement quicksand is like more metal.
Yeah, dude, but
that's crazy.
On opposite coasts too. One in Oregon, and I think one in Maine, dude. So like, quicksand's a thing, and it's something that we grew up as older generations grew up being terrified of and never saw. Well, now we should be terrified of it again.
In your head, are you ejecting from the car into like a giant pile of like cement that's like
quicksand.
High level of cement?
Yeah, well, I'm in the cement and I just kind of like relax a little bit to try to float up to the top and gradually kind of like lift myself up, maybe blow on it, make it hard, and then push that up. I don't know. At least I would probably die trying, but at least I'd have the option to try. With the logs, dude, it's game over immediately. Yeah. You're not trying anything.
Yeah, they'd be like, damn, that guy really tried at least.
Yeah, at least he tried.
That was a good attempt.
Yeah, like seeing somebody like opening up the coffin of someone who's buried alive. You see the scratch marks and be like, wow. He gave it the old college try, huh?
Good for him.
Yeah. All right. Give us another would you rather here, Mari.
All right. Would you rather cut your own eyelids off with scissors or pull each of your teeth out with a wrench?
Now, these are things that she thinks of, which is, you see beautiful, sweet Mari is one of the most twisted
really
friends we have.
She was very sweet, very quiet.
Okay, say it again. Take off your own
don't
eyelids.
say it again.
Cut your eyelids off with scissors or pull each of your teeth out with a wrench.
Herb?
I'm going to go with eyelids because I got only 2 eyelids and I got a lot of teeth.
Yeah.
But... Okay.
All right, go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, what's the counter?
Eyelids are gone. You need those. Your eyes are going to dry out. They're gone. With teeth, yeah, that would suck and be painful. But I'm assuming there's a shot of whiskey next to me or something, and then dentures afterwards.
Yeah, and actually,
there's no eyelid replacements
the
on
FDA,
Temu.
The FDA just recently approved pills that help you regrow your teeth. Yeah, so this is something that we're in the future, so you'll be able to regrow your teeth. But I'm afraid, like, if you take it to regrow teeth, you just start growing teeth out your ass or something. You know, how do these pills know which one's the mouth? You're like, they're both very similar. I talk a lot of shit, so I know I would grow molars out my ass. Yeah. With that, though, I think cutting off your eyelids for you, Herb, was probably the best suggestion because you're a movie critic. You have to watch a lot of TV. So you just invest in a Visine and then you're always on the job.
That's true.
You're the critic with no eyelids. That's me.
That's me.
I'm the guy. Yep.
Seriously.
It would be my differentiator, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the guy with no eyelids.
Yeah. He watched the movie, didn't blink once. He can't.
He lives for this.
Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We just did another round of Would You Rathers, which are insane. You can watch the replay, youtube.com/beefvegan. But a lot of you guys are hanging out with us on the stream today, which I appreciate. It's our last broadcast this week as I'm taking an extended weekend and going down to Mexico, which I want to give a thank you on the air here to Lindsay, our OG streamer. I actually secretly I've been kind of filled with anxiety for this trip. Of course, the devastating news of the stories and just everything, just road trips in general. It's always a little nerve wracking. She might have seen this, but she dropped off at the station yesterday 2 good luck trinkets, like travel safe trinkets that she put together for me and my daughter, which were beautiful, cool little keepsakes. And just a little thing where I'm like, absolutely, I will take this. To ride with us, and I appreciate that, Lindsay. So thank you very much.
Nice.
All right, we got Herb Stratford in studio. Of course, he's out there watching everything. And there's a new 3-part documentary on Hulu, a story that a lot of us already know, but apparently we didn't know everything. And of course, I'm talking about
Jonestown, the Jonestown Massacre, and this is a thing called Cult Massacre: One Day in Jonestown, and this is the story in the 70s. You may remember there was this charismatic preacher named Jim Jones, and he, not Austin Powers, Jim Jones.
Yes.
And callback. And basically he ran afoul of the government, the U.S. government, and ended up having his goons murder a congressman. And then he told all of his followers, there was about 800 or 900 people in this town that he had built. And he told them he basically made up this mix of Kool-Aid and poison, and most of them drank it all and killed themselves.
Yep.
So what's interesting is this is the first time we've seen interviews with Jim Jones's son and some of the survivors who fled into the forest to get away from the event.
The smart ones.
That was me.
Yeah. And so then there's a lot of footage. But I mean, it's a parable about, avoiding following charismatic leaders. It's about, a thing that was really pretty horrific. I mean, the footage of the helicopters coming in, and there's just hundreds of bodies laying around the ground that did it of their own volition. They weren't, shot. They were not, murdered. They drank it of their own. And these are children and women. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's really horrific, but it's very well done. I will say, like your complaint, I mean, most of the time beef is that they string things out. They probably could have tightened it up a little bit. But
could have been a 2-hour movie instead of a 3-part documentary.
Yeah.
But I mean, basically they took the blueprint from Netflix, and that's what Netflix likes to do. Something about maybe just stats and figures and, that they report to stockholders. Something like that.
Yeah. Well, it spreads it out more, right? It's more slots they're filling. But I heard an interesting thing today that apparently there was another group of people that survived Jonestown. He had a basketball team.
Oh, wait.
Which I had no idea. He had Jim Jones had a basketball team. It was like the Jonestown basketball team. They were playing a game an hour and a half away in Georgetown in South Africa, and they were not there. They were supposed to be at the compound when it happened. They were not there. They were playing a game, and so they survived.
Yeah.
But how weird is that this guy, this preacher, had like this legit basketball
I want to know
team.
the name of the team, like the Mixers.
Yeah, the crazy thing is I did recall that, and they lost that game by like 40 points, dude. They were a terrible basketball team. Hell, even some would say they got massacred.
Oh, no wonder.
I know. I had to walk to that bad joke.
Oh, you.
All right, but that's on Hulu, so you can check out if you're a fan of documentaries, the Jonestown documentary on Hulu. We're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast and wrap things up with a beef tip right after these words. It's Rock 102.1. I mean, come on. Did you see that joke come in? Or?
So let me just tell you, there's something here that it's coming out not next week but 2 weeks because I'll be gone for the next 2 weeks. But it's called Daddy-O, and this is a new movie with Sean Penn and one of my personal favorites, Dakota Johnson.
Okay, they're back again. So Sean Penn and Dakota Johnson worked again before in was it Milk or
I thought it was Sam movie.
It was Sam. No, yeah, I Am Sam.
Mm-hmm.
It was I Am Sam.
And so
is that what made her?
I know that was
no, it was early, but it wasn't the first thing.
What was the movie she was in that made her? That made her a star.
Made a star. Doesn't she have
Mario?
parents?
Look it up.
That bugs me.
Go on IMDb.com.
Maybe that is.
Wait, Dakota who?
Fanning. I think it is
Dakota Johnson.
No,
Fanning. Johnson?
No, it's Dakota. Dakota Johnson's in it. So Fanning and Sam. Okay,
I was gonna say
got my Dakotas mixed up like north and south.
We're all mixing up names today. Let's answer a phone call real quick and then you can continue that. Rock 1 2.1. Who's this?
This is Joey.
What up, Joey?
Hey, when you're off, why can't Maury and Valdez go over the show? Because it's boring driving around listening just to the radio.
Well,
and your promo jumping on every so often.
Yeah, you don't like those promos that pop in?
Blue Chew.
Well, I'd rather hear a whole show. That's what I do in my drive in the morning.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Makes it entertaining.
I'll tell you the truth. Here's a little behind the scenes, Joey. Unfortunately, and Valdez and Mari won't be able to do that. I offered to Mac to pre-record an entire show on Friday. My boss, I said, hey, I could just record an entire show on Friday, and he's like, well, you're still gonna have to put it in as a day off. And I'm like, well, then if you're gonna take away from my vacation hours, then fuck you. I'm not gonna do the extra work, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot to do 2 shows in one day. So if you can't value that, then put in some skims and good luck to you. So sorry, Joey. Unfortunately, just be music on Monday, Tuesday, or Friday and Monday. But we're gonna be back full steam on Tuesday next week. It'll be worth it.
You're gonna be gone on Tuesday too, man.
No, I'm gonna be gone on Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday.
Or about Monday. You're gonna be gone Monday too. Okay. All right. I guess up Pandora then in the morning.
I took that day off just in case I get arrested. I'm going to Mexico.
All right. Safe travels.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. All right. So and I'm not joking about that. I mean,
you're being real.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Okay, so Dakota Johnson, Sean Penn.
Yeah, so Daddy-O. So it's based on a true story. First time writer director. I don't know how she got this cast of these two, but basically the story is Dakota gets in a cab at JFK and he's the driver. Sean Penn's her driver, and basically the whole thing takes place in the cab. And you're thinking, how boring is that, right?
Right.
It's actually not. It's very good. It's not a lot of action, but it's a lot of talking and a lot of sort of acting, honestly, because the two of them are sort of in this dance, right? And not in a creepy way, because he's obviously much older.
Yes, and creepy.
But I'm telling you, the guy is having a renaissance right now. He had that movie a couple months ago where he was the ambulance, the EMT in New York.
Yes.
Amazing.
Which I still haven't seen, but
and he's very good in this, and Dakota's great in this. But I will warn you, there is a male penis in this movie. So just it's not his. It's not his. I'm just warning you.
Doesn't even matter. I watched The Boys on Amazon and
Game of Thrones, The Boy.
Yeah, dude. Penis is unavoidable nowadays. It's
everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah. I was watching I Am Virgo and I thought they were going to show this giant black kid's penis. And I was just like, I can't overcome that. My insecurity is already at an all-time low.
You'll be first in line at the filler clinic. I know.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because that show that we talked about last week, I Am Virgo, which is a super clever concept in this kind of like a sci-fi type of world that has like a political undertone, and it's well done. It's entertaining, but basically it's a 13-foot giant. Like this kid is just a giant for whatever reason, and the way that they shot it was, they just kind of took an average guy and just made him big, right? So he doesn't look like Andre the Giant or disfigured.
Yeah.
But you don't realize how big 13 feet is until you see him standing next to other people, and he ends up getting like a girlfriend. And without spoiling and stuff, at one point he does the big reveal, and she's like, "Oh, that's not gonna work." And you imagine, like, "Oh yeah, he's probably like the size, like his dick's probably the size of her." Just imagine that. It's like a punch bag or one of those.
Jeez,
those guys with no arms that you punch at the gym.
Yeah.
That's what it probably was, dude.
Oh God,
I know.
Yeah,
and she took it like a champ. It's a crazy show.
Rest in peace.
That's on Amazon Prime too. So
it is. Yep. So other things coming up this week. The big one, honestly,
which we just talked about,
is of course the new Beverly Hills Cop coming out on July the 3rd. So
on Netflix.
On Netflix.
It's Netflix.
It's on Netflix. And what's interesting though is think about back in the day when you had Will Smith 4th of July movies, Independence Day, Men in Black, all that stuff. There's nothing big on 4th of July weekend.
And not in theaters.
Just had
and
Bad
now
Boys
it's just
too
on Netflix.
Bad Boys come out, but
It
that's
did,
not
but
4th of
you know,
July.
It's not 4th of July weekend.
But not 4th of July weekend.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
interesting
crazy.
that they've sort of let that weekend go.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's because Netflix had planted the flag for this, for this Eddie Murphy, movie or not. But it's just interesting to me that normally that's a big weekend for movies.
Even more surprising that Netflix don't let it go for like a dual release or a delayed release and put it in the movie theaters.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's there. It's a cash grab. It's a
Yep.
sequel of a franchise that's legendary. And of course, Eddie Murphy has made his comeback too. So
Yeah,
that is
totally.
weird. And so instead of going to theaters this 4th of July weekend, you're going to be staying at home, barbecuing, and watching Beverly Hills, the sequel, in the background.
With your dad going, the first one was way better.
Of course.
No, but did you hear about that? They're opening up Netflix houses.
Yes, very interesting.
What does that mean?
It's like an experiential thing. That's the big thing now. They did this with Stranger Things and some other shows where they created these sort of experiences. I think Stranger Things was the first thing where they took over a parking garage and you would drive through and see stuff. So now they're taking it to an actual footprint, which is interesting because you got all this mall space.
Yeah,
around,
it's
right?
like food and shopping.
So now you can go in. So it's their sort of, I think it's a loss leader. I mean, like any of this stuff, like they don't, they're just like, we got all this money. We might as well spend it on something. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah, interesting. So yeah, interesting to see if it catches on. I feel like that's sort of like you might go once, but you're not going to go like to Disneyland every year.
Like, how much am I paying for this pretzel?
Yeah,
there are people that definitely do Disneyland every year, and it's definitely built the house of mouse. So
it's true.
And we actually read a survey saying that families go on average $2,000 per person in debt to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, dude.
And the problem is once you introduce your kid to that drug,
yeah,
you're gonna go back.
My kids don't like it.
Really?
Rock 2.1 KF man, welcome back. Beef Vegan Presents. You said your kids don't like Disneyland?
I mean, maybe they're too young, but they're just kind of like, meh.
Well, yeah, dude. Yeah, maybe they are too young, but they'll get to age 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. I mean, I know just grown adults. My friend Kat, she's like, she's approaching 30 and looks at Disneyland like she's 6. And
Yeah, Disney adults are a different breed, man.
yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
and she'll
true.
go like 4 times a year. And I'm like, man, you are basically just working for the mouse.
That's true.
That's it.
That's true.
I mean, even me just going to Rock Point for the weekend, that's a financial investment. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm putting things on credit cards and, I'll be paying off this little weekend trip for the next couple months for sure.
Anywhere you go as an adult that many times, usually they recognize you like, hey, man, we appreciate you. Disneyland's like, that's it? 4 times?
Yeah. No appreciation.
Come on.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
get a punch card for
Nothing.
that.
Exactly. Yeah, no love whatsoever. They want all the money. Well, we've had a great show today, and I appreciate everybody for watching and, of course, subscribing, youtube.com/beefvegan. If you're reaching out to me so you can follow Mari on Instagram and thirst after her, unfortunately, she doesn't have an Instagram page. But while you were lurking, make sure you follow Rico and I because we do.
Yeah.
Greatest feet pics ever.
Yeah, I'm Real Rico and at Beef Vegan, and then Herb Stratford as well on Instagram. You'll be able to see him because we tag him up in all these embarrassing Instagram clips that he doesn't share or like.
Yeah, I'm afraid that if I do, then the people in my family will see them. So
Smart.
That's fair, dude. I don't blame you. Before we leave, let me give you a beef tip. Of course, you've heard the saying that money can't buy happiness, right? And that's debatable, but a new survey says that happiness could get you money. Data shows that making the conscious choice to be happier, regardless of circumstances, leads to more money, better relationships, and more overall success in life, and not vice versa. All right. So, and this according to Tammy Muller, who's a happiness trainer and positive psychology life coach. So why don't you try that? If you're broke, try being happy and maybe money will follow. So money can't buy happiness, but happiness might be able to buy money. And that's your beef tip. So at the very least, even if you're broke, but you're still happy, that's a win. Right? So there we go. It's a positive beef tip here. Thanks, beef. All right. We're going to be doing best ofs on tomorrow and Monday because I'll be taking an extended weekend. But we will be back Tuesday morning and continue the fun with big ticket giveaways and so much more. But till then, Robin Nash is up next. Keep listening for her and Razor for your opportunity to qualify for the summer of fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Drive safe, ride safe. And as always, rock local. Later.
When you
Happy birthday, Anna.
on a side of beef,
Soon
110 today, hydrate.
an end to all your grief. But
Summer
if
solstice.
you've been mean or kind of bad, I will knock out all your teeth.
Babuski.